some of y'all have already been here for about 15-20 minutes or so waiting for this thing to get set up and everybody to get in place. My name is Stephen Benavides. I am with Dallas Communities Organizing for Change. We are a community organization in Dallas. We've been around since around 2010, working on issues of police reform and racial justice. In 2013, we wrote a report called The History of Violence, which analyzed 10 years of officer-involved shooting data. Based on the results of that analysis, we filed a Department of Justice Civil Rights complaint against the City of Dallas and the Dallas Police Department in 2014. 4 years later, some of those reforms have been implemented. In the shooting of Botham John right now, there has been significant criticism of Chief Hall, of the District Attorney Faith Johnson, of Mayor Mike Rawlings, and the way that the investigation has been conducted. We very much believe that the input of the community is vital in moving the city forward. And while there are protests and other panel discussions set up around the city, we decided to take a different approach. And instead of having the members and the individuals ask questions of the city officials and then get an answer back, we're asking that you come up and give a comment about how you feel about how the case has been handled, what you think about the investigation. Do you think Chief Hall has done a good job in the way this thing has been handled? And we do have a few questions, so if we get to the point where people start kind of running out of comments, we can kind of reinitiate that with some questions that we have already ready to go. Part of this process as well is going to be this community survey. Some of y'all already have a copy of this. If you don't have a copy, we can get it to you. We've got a couple clipboards and some pens. It's basically 7 questions, just very general yes and no questions about how the case has been handled, about the investigation, and about Chief Hall specifically, and then what actions need to be taken, if any action, to hold her accountable. And so that being said, Tiffany, one of our members here, Tiffany Billions, is going to be the moderator. So let's give her a little round of applause. Tiffany, basically we're just going to ask when people start coming up to the microphone and just making comments. If you need the survey, let us know. We'll get one to you, and let's get this thing rolling.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad that you guys could meet us out here and that you are showing your concern as citizens of Dallas County.
Could you give us your name, spell your first and last
Sure.
name, and your title, please?
So that's Tiffany, Tiffney, Billings, Billins, and I am with Dallas Communities Organizing for Change. I'm simply an associate affiliate. I work with them. And I've actually been working in the movement since 2011, affiliated with several organizations, and just a concerned citizen as a whole. So again, we're glad that you could meet us out here to speak about this issue. This is an issue that affects the entire community as a whole. And so we're going to open it right now for questions. If anybody has any questions or concerns regarding the tragic incident that occurred on September 6th, definitely you're welcome to come here and speak on it. Does anybody have any concerns? Does anybody want to make a comment?
Oh, the mic's over there.
Hello everybody. I'm Nicole London, and I have a lot of concerns because this could be my son, this could be my brother, this could be my uncle, this could be your brother, your sister. It could be. This is the most ridiculous thing, and it's a heinous crime almost, really, because now on the day of his funeral, they decide, to say the man has drugs in his house. This lady broke into his house. I came by the story of I was confused going home. That don't make any sense. How you don't know where you live, but you work the streets of Dallas? How can you work a city as big as ours and then go say that I don't know where I stay. You know, and the point is, there are numbers on the doors. So, now she can't read or something? Is her vision impaired? What made her vision impaired? That's what we need to know. I mean, something made her where she was incoherent. And it wasn't fatigue of work or going to work. It was something else. It had to be drugs, it had to be alcohol, it had to be something. So they gotta come clean and tell us what it is. And then all the stuff that they just found in that apartment, it should give us some clues that they must have been dating, because it looked like all that was her stuff. He was not a police officer. So how did the police officer stuff get in his apartment? So I don't wanna hear that we left it at the door. It was in the apartment, is what the statement says. So we're gonna go by what you said. You said that it was in the apartment, and this lady, she just cold-blooded murdered this man. This is a murder warrant. This is not a manslaughter, this is a murder warrant, and something has to be done. And it has to be done fast, because if you don't, someone is gonna come here and they're gonna tear our city up. You know, if you want our city to be torn up, please keep doing what you're doing. But someone, when these real people come down here, this is their purpose too. They're gonna come here and they're gonna tear this place up. And we live here.
So can we get your opinion on the performance of Chief Hall?
She needs to be fired. It's on my board that I want her to go back to Detroit. She needs to be fired. I'm not finna say, oh, she's black, that's my sister. So what? I don't care about her being black. I mean, if you're gonna be a puppet for the mayor, then you don't supposed to be here. And that's what she's, a puppet. She's doing everything that everybody tell her to do, just as well as Faith Johnson. They are puppets. They're not doing what they want to do. They're doing what they're being told. Whatever master say, they're doing. That's just what that is.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comment. We appreciate that. And we do understand this is an emotional, this causes a lot of emotions to rise. But we also want to keep the comments geared towards the performance of Chief Hall, and you can back that up with what you've seen. So because we have to remember this is a performance review. We're requesting a review of her performance. Does anybody else want to speak?
Yeah, I do. Good morning. I'm Dr. Milton Perkins. I'm not a civil rights advocate by any stretch of the imagination. The impetus for me even coming out, I went to Botham John's funeral. I marched last night with the Next Generation Coalition, and I'm here today because I'm sad, I'm angry, and I'm afraid. And this was an impetus. My family and my friends have even asked me, what is wrong? And I think this was the proverbial camel straw for me. When you see across the nation, cops killing innocent people, reaching for their wallet, coming out of a party with a cell phone, and then this incident when the young man is sitting, I can't even say his name without getting teared up. He's sitting in his home doing whatever he was doing. He could have been smoking crack, I don't care. He's sitting in his own home, the comfort of his home, and somebody knocks on his door, enters his home, and kills him. And for me, that is absolutely outrageous behavior. So there's a counterpoint that I'm battling with in my heart when we talk about Chief Hall and the people involved with his investigation. And that is, I don't want to participate in a public lynching of somebody who represents, she looks like me, she acts like me, and she comes from the same place I come from. So I don't fall for the play out of the J. Edgar Hoover's playbook, which is demonize somebody that looks like me, that has some empathy for where I come from. So I don't know what the investigation looks like. I don't know what it requires to do an investigation. What I do know is if the tables were turned, if I knocked on somebody's door and killed them, I would be in jail with no bond right now until the investigation is over. So I'll let the facts come out to determine if it was murder or manslaughter. I personally think she murdered him, and she should be in jail for whatever she did. At the same time, I don't want to, my personal opinion, you guys do what you want to do. I don't want to demonize Chief Hall because I don't know where she stands. I don't know what it feels like to walk in her shoes. and what kind of conflict she has in trying to do this investigation to turn it over to the DA's office. So I'm not going to beat her up yet. I know what, if those facts don't come out and this young lady does not go to jail for murder, all hell will break loose. Not only in this city, but across this nation. It's going to look like what it did when Dr. King and when Malcolm X was killed. There's going to be riots all over this nation, which is why I say I'm fearful. Because I don't want my kids to have to come in off the streets and not be able to play safely in their neighborhoods. My message to Chief Hall, because she's not here, do your job. And do it expeditiously and give us justice. I saw this brother last night. If there's no justice, there will be no peace. And we will shut it down. And this is from a management consultant, a 40-year human resource executive, a diversity and inclusion trainer. I'm not some thug on the street. I'm well educated and I do well for corporate America, but I guarantee you this has driven me to the point of saying, I'm here. And I will do whatever it takes to bring justice to this young brother's name. Botham Shem Jean will never be forgotten in my home, and I hope he's not forgotten in yours. Chief Hall, do your job. Do your job and do it expeditiously. The young lady should be arrested and she should be held without bond until the investigation is over.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak?